Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is Cheyenne. If you're new here, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. This is a new thing for me, this channel talking about mental health, talking about crazy stories from my past, talking about crazy stories that I've heard, and also bringing light to taboo topics such as the mind, experiences in our past that have shaped the way we are today, things we struggle with on an everyday basis, things we're afraid to talk about. So I try to bring some variety to my channel, but it's also very therapeutic for me. So I hope you enjoy my content, and again, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button, maybe even leave a little commentary down below. It's always nice to read those. So today I'm going to do a video on losing yourself. So what exactly does that mean, losing yourself? I think it's when we start to be led astray from our core selves. Now, our core selves could represent our thoughts, our emotions, the way we express ourselves, the way we view the world. But I think that a lot of times, and this can happen when we're very young, we often try to conform to society. We try to people please. We want to fit in. Sometimes we feel alone and we want to be like everybody else, even if that's not an accurate representation of who we truly are. Even if it doesn't resonate with our souls, we do it anyway. So I just want to talk a little bit about how losing myself led me to make certain choices in my life that were absolutely negative and harmful and detrimental, and how after a series of unfortunate events, I finally came back to my true self, because it had been there all along, but I didn't have the self-esteem to hold it up high. I didn't have the self-esteem to say, this is who I am. This is my core self. This is my true self. And in Sanskrit, here's a little bit of yoga information for you. In Sanskrit, Satya means your truth. That's Satya. And your truth is so important. That's why I practice, and I have been teaching yoga for almost 10 years. Satya means your truth. It means letting go of the ego and accepting who you truly are without giving a shit about what anybody else thinks. By detaching yourself from other people's narratives, from society's narrative of who they want you to be, of who others are more comfortable with you being. So that's really what it's all about. Now, to start off this video, I want to talk a little bit about where I grew up. So I grew up in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale. And I remember very specifically when I was 12 years old, my father came home from the library and he tossed this book at me, and it was Ernest Hemingway's The Green Hills of Africa. And I read that book in one day, and then afterwards I read everything Hemingway wrote. I was obsessed with The Lost Generation, so Scott Fitzgerald, and I didn't have anyone to talk to about these things. So I couldn't talk to anyone between the age of 12 to 14 about Hemingway and Fitzgerald, and how Sense and Sensibility was my favorite movie at the time. I remember even my friend bought me the soundtrack of Sense and Sensibility for my birthday, and I was so excited because I would sing along to Kate Winslet's solo in the movie. Yeah, I was a dork, but actually proud dork. But I didn't have anyone to talk to, and I conformed to what the other students were doing. And I'm not bashing anyone from South Florida, but what everybody else was doing was going to keg parties in abandoned parking lots. So that's what I did for years, because I had no one to talk to. I just wanted to stay home, read books, watch Jane Austen movies, and then talk about it. But I had no one to do that with. So what did I do? I was drinking at 14 and 15, although it was really crappy beer. in abandoned parking lots. Not a lot of fun, but that's what we did in old Fort Lauderdale. And that's what we did for years. And unfortunately, you start to meet the wrong people and you start to conform to their narrative, which is numbing yourself with substances or alcohol or shunning others that actually want what's best for you because you feel like they're judging you or trying to control you, aka your parents. So that did not go over well because I didn't stay true to myself. And in hindsight, I'm like, who cares? Like, these kids, I didn't even care about them. I don't even talk to them today. Why did I care so much? But it's because today I am more comfortable with being alone with myself. It is not a burden for me to be alone with myself. In fact, I actually relish in being alone with myself. But as a teenager, I did not because I was uncomfortable, hormones, and I wanted to fit a narrative and I wanted to fit in line with everybody else. I didn't want to be different. Being different wasn't cool. But today, as you can tell, I don't give a damn, as Rhett Butler so famously said. Further on down the line, I was dating people that did not represent who I truly was. I am a homebody. I am an introvert. Again, I'm somebody that loves to read and watch movies, listen to music, analyze things, have deep dive discussions about it. But I was dating people and hanging out with people that would bar hop and that would stay up until sunrise and not for the right reasons. And that wasn't who I truly was. And sometimes I knew what I was doing wasn't me. I always knew that. But at the same time, I thought, well, I'm not really living if I just stay home and be true to myself, because I thought there was something wrong with me. My ex-husband used to say to me all the time, Cheyenne, you're so antisocial. You're so antisocial. And after hearing it for years on an everyday basis, you start to think to yourself, am I really antisocial? So I started to do these things and go out of my comfort zone. But in the end, you just feel void. There's just this emptiness, this abyss that you can never really fill. And I think that's when I started to notice little signs of depression here and there. As a teenager, when I started to drift slowly but surely away from my true self, my satya, for those of you who were paying attention to the Sanskrit part, my true self. Afterwards, I started to dress a certain way. So I, as a teenager, developed very quickly, and if you know what I mean. And so I started being sexualized a lot by older people, by adults, as a teenager. I was a hostess in a restaurant. I was asked to dress a certain way at 15. So I started to be sexualized at a very, very young age. And unfortunately, it wasn't like it is now. Back then, you just did it. You needed the money. If they asked you to wear a push-up bra and skin-tight clothing and high heels at 15 to hostess in a restaurant, you just did it. That's just how things were. Was it wrong? Yes, but it happened. And so I started to think, well, if I'm dressing this way, I have to act this way. I have to act older than I really am. And I have to portray myself to others as a more sexualized version of the tomboy I really was inside, who just wanted to wear my old beat up Converse and torn jeans. And it was extremely uncomfortable. So I would just put makeup on and put hairspray in my hair, have my boobs up to here, wear skin tight clothing, 6-inch heels. And it wasn't who I was at all. And I started to drink. Underage drinking, folks, happens every day. Because I was so uncomfortable. I did not want to be there. I did not want to adopt this persona of some kind of femme fatale at the age of 15 that my employees were plunging down my throat. Do this, act this way, And I got to tell you folks, in Florida back in the day, when I say back in the day, it really wasn't that long ago. There really are no rules. There were no rules. It's just you do it. You do it. It's called life. And we didn't really think about it. But it was honestly disgusting behavior because we had no voice. I talk about having a voice a lot on my channel, and I didn't have a voice, certainly not at 15. So I just did it. And again, it led me to start drinking alcohol at 15, 16, 17, dating the wrong people, when all the while, deep down inside, there was a combination of Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, maybe a little Huck Finn, and my ripped jeans and my Converse, wanting to be surrounded by books and classic rock and to be left alone. But I never did that. And I didn't do that until I was in my late 20s, folks. That's not what I did. It would come out here and there, but it wasn't a streamline of it. It would be, these plateaus of me being true to myself, but then I wouldn't. And I wouldn't be true to myself when I was in stressful situations, when I was asked to do something I did not want to do, that went against my values, my beliefs, and I'm a very open-minded person, but that just wasn't part of the narrative of who I am. And I don't believe in narratives, and I hate that word, but when I say narrative, it's the essence of the word, my story, who I am, my roots. So when you feel completely uplifted from who you truly are, I honestly think that that is the beginning of the end. And that is what happens a lot of times, not all the time, but it certainly seems to happen a lot around, let's just say between 10 and 12 years old, 10 to 13 years old, when you start to realize and understand the world, realize and understand your thoughts. I'm sweating, guys, sorry. It's starting to get hot here in France. And so I think it's very important to pay attention to those things. And I think it's important to keep a journal, to keep yourself in check. I think it's important to keep reading, to not seek outside validation for who you truly are. And I think that you shouldn't be ashamed of whatever it is that makes your heart pump and whatever it is that makes you feel alive. So this was just a little video, something that was on my mind over the weekend, and I certainly hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you will start thinking, I don't know, about your childhood. Maybe it'll bring back some memories, some mistakes you made. Maybe you went through the same thing that I did. Anyways, I certainly am blessed to have this channel. It is a form of therapy for me. And again, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I will see you next time with another video. And thank you so much for watching until the end.